What's going on, guys? Apathetic here, and today we're covering Lumina, the new exotic hand cannon coming to us in Season of Opulence. So I'm going to cover the exotic perk on this weapon, what scenarios this exotic perk could be used in, and answer the question, is this weapon viable in the Crucible? Let's get into it. Lumina is an exotic hand cannon is obtained through a quest that starts exactly where Thorn starts in the EDZ after you take the transmit in the salt mines. Before we get into the exotic perk, we gotta talk base stats, guys. So out the gate, you're looking at chambered compensator for the barrel, accurized rounds, for which is very welcome to help with that range, and polymer grip for a nice boost to handling on this weapon. And the handling on this weapon is what really stands out to me. It reminds me a lot of Thorn, which from a lore perspective makes a ton of sense. And the weapon, as you'll see, is similar to Thorn in a lot of ways. It's very snappy when you ADS. When switching to this weapon, it seems to ready almost immediately, and the range is decent. It's not going to blow you away with its range like Ostringer, but I would rate the overall feel due to the handling on this weapon as better than Ostringer. Getting into Lumina's exotic perk, we have noble rounds. Kills with this weapon leave behind remnants. Absorbing a remnant converts your next hip-fired shot into an ally-seeking noble round and partially refills the magazine. So very similar to Thorn's exotic perk in the sense of when you pick up these remnants, it's going to partially refill the magazine and it's going to give you noble rounds. And these noble rounds can be fired at your teammates when you hip fire this weapon. And when it says it tracks, guys, it tracks. I'm talking like truth level stuff here, guys. I would fire a noble round. It would seem kind of off, I'll admit, and it would turn super hard to get to your ally. So your noble rounds aren't something you have to be super accurate with. And from what I can tell, they stay like it stays procced for pretty long. Like you can switch away from Lumina and switch back to it and you'll still have your noble rounds. Talking more about the noble rounds, this ties into this weapon's other trait, Blessings of the Sky. Using a noble round on an ally heals them and grants both you and them a weapon damage bonus for a short duration. And this is where this weapon gets really interesting. You can use Blessing of the Sky to not only provide support to your team in terms of buffing their damage and healing them, but also buffing your own damage. Well, how much does it buff your damage, Appa? I'm glad you asked. So when firing this weapon in its optimal range, you're looking at hitting a 68 for a crit with this weapon. When you trigger Blessings of the Sky, your crit damage increases from 68 per crit to 81, and that's when this weapon just gets disgusting. It leaves more room for error when it comes to hitting your shots. It helps artificially extend that range of this weapon. So you have that increased damage, so that pushes the damage fall off just out a little bit more. It makes the one pain point of this weapon being the range hurt a little bit less. When it comes to scenarios or ways this weapon can really be utilized, it's most effective, as you could probably guess, when you play around your teammates. Playing around your team using this weapon really forces you to play and view the game differently. No longer are we each in our own little world trying to team shot. You actually start paying attention to your team's positioning, their health, and you're trying to wait for that right moment to hit them with a noble round. And once you do, now you're jumping in right next to them because you're buffed, they're buffed, they got healed up, and now you guys are team shotting together and you guys are doing a ton of damage. This weapon is so unique in that sense, and how it, at least for me, changed how I had to play and view the game. And it's something I've definitely enjoyed. I look forward to seeing how teams will implement this, especially on more competitive teams. A lot of time competitive teams will have like a last word, Ostringer or Ace, and then a Thorn for that burn damage. I'd be interested to see how Lumina gets integrated into some of these competitive builds where these teams are kind of playing off each other in terms of what weapons they're using. I think there's a lot of potential there. So if you couldn't tell by now, I definitely recommend getting your hands on this weapon for the Crucible. The quest isn't difficult by any means, just takes time. Lumina handles great, very easy to control, at least on PC. Always gotta throw that disclaimer in there. Has a very unique perk that really challenges you to play the Crucible in a different way. And even if you don't play super team oriented, this hand cannon is still a top performer. And as far as where I would rank it amongst the other top hand cannons, well, I think as of right now, Last Word is still going to be #1 with Ace in a close second, depending on play style. And then it's really close for me between Thorn and Lumina, because it really just depends on how you're looking to play or what role you're looking to fill on your team. But without a question, this weapon holds its own against those other beast hand cannons. But let me know in the comments where for you guys, does this hand cannon rank amongst some of the other top exotic hand cannons? Thanks so much for watching, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.
Zone B lost. You have zone advantage. Zone B captured. You have advantage. Dominating the field. Don't let up. Moments of clarity are weapons warlord.
Perfect.